Small army of policemen, most of them carrying shotguns. National Guardsmen riding jeeps with 30-caliber machine guns. Bodies of several Negroes who have been shot already in this battle, stretched out beside the curb. Acres and acres of broken glass, burned, gutted, and looted stores and offices. And now, this hunt, like something out of a bad war movie. A Western, perhaps. Policemen on the rooftops, in the streets. They think now they've found the man they're after. That was part of the Civil War fought on the streets of Los Angeles one night this summer. Violence set off, according to some of the participants, by a history of ancient wrong.
I think it started 400 years ago. And things just kept building up. And heat, one thing. And poverty. It's getting tired of being pushed around by you white people, that's all.
You couldn't talk to anybody. There was nobody to talk to. You couldn't talk to the cops because they didn't want to talk to me. They wanted to beat my brains out, just like they've been doing all the time. And the only way it seems that we can ever get anybody at any time to listen to us is start a riot. We got sense enough to know that this is not the final answer, but at the beginning.
Governor, I hand you the report been prepared by your commission. We cannot, Governor, tell you any one particular reason why the riots took place in August and why they took place in Los Angeles.
Tonight's CBS Reports examines the question of what's. Was it a local riot or the beginning of a national revolt? What started it? What stopped it? Will there be another Watts? John McCone has just presented Governor Edmund Brown of California his investigating committee's report seeking the answers to just such questions. These findings are an integral part of what follows, a CBS Report study of the principal events and causes of the nightmare in Watts.
CBS reports. Watts, riot or revolt? Now, here is CBS News correspondent Bill Stout, who has covered the Watts story from the moment the rioting began.
3 months ago, on this street in Los Angeles, California, violence produced all this. A local riot or a revolt? Part of a national social revolution? A carnival of hoodlum lawlessness? Or the product of a festering social illness? And most puzzling of all, if it was a riot, why did it happen here, in the community thought to be least caught up in racial tensions? A Frenchman who looked at his own country's revolution 175 years ago left us with a comment which may give some insight. He said, "The evils which can be endured with patience as long as they are inevitable seem intolerable as soon as a hope can be entertained of escaping them." In the past 25 years, more than 300,000 Negroes from other parts of the United States have come to Los Angeles in the hope of escaping evils they had endured with patience. But on the night of Wednesday, August the 11th, that patience ran out. It was the most widespread, most destructive racial violence in American history. White people driving through the riot area were considered fair game, whether young or old, men or women. Their cars were battered, the drivers stoned, kicked, and beaten, and the cars were burned. The mobs groan and curse in disappointment when a white got away, and then cheer like a football crowd when a car went up in flames. The burning and looting, the shooting and beating went on for nearly a week. "34 persons were killed, all but 5 of them Negroes. More than 1,000 persons injured or wounded. More than 200 business places destroyed by fire. 700 more smashed, looted, and damaged. Negro merchants sought to protect themselves with hurriedly scrawled appeals. The cost in dollars, even now, is hard to estimate. Perhaps 50 million, 60 million, or more. Nearly 4,000 persons arrested.
Shut it off, get out of that car with your hands up. All of you, the one in the back seat, too. Come on, get up. Get your hands up, I said. Drop that purse and get your hands up. Get your hands up! Get them up. Get your hands up. Let's go. Come on, right this way.
Negro leaders blamed it on a variety of social ailments. Poverty and unemployment, poor schools, and bad housing, all of which add up to discrimination. But most of all, said the Negro spokesman, police brutality. And the mobs agreed.
Get in with the light.
But the police were not the only targets. Firemen rushing about the city trying to control dozens of blazes at once were showered with rocks and bottles and sometimes found themselves under heavy gunfire.
Control 12, calling staff 3.
The mobs hated authority, but more generally, they hated all whites. And before the mobs finished, before they spent themselves, by the time the rioting had run its course, the police had been forced to plot their action over 54 square miles in the middle of the nation's third largest city. 54 square miles. More than twice the size of the entire island of Manhattan. Indeed, Harlem or South Chicago, where steaming, rat-ridden tenements are the raw material of riot, seemed the most likely to produce those northern explosions that were predicted in white America's anxiety over the Negro Revolution. No one expected the flashpoint of discontent to be in the sprawling, bungalowed 450 square miles of Los Angeles. Yet it did happen there, in an area holding 1/6 of the county's 523,000 Negroes. Watts is a ghetto, but not a slum, as the term is known in older cities. There are streets of trim, lower middle class homes, and there are squalid areas of condemned houses with people living in them. 2/3 of the adults have less than a high school education. 1 in 8 is illiterate. Of every 10 homes, 9 were built before 1939. 1 in 5 is deteriorated. Watts has the lowest average income rate in Los Angeles County, $4,000 per year, compared with more than $8,000 per year for the white community. Almost 60% of the Watts families receive some sort of welfare, against an unemployment rate that holds around 30%. 1 of every 3 teenagers comes from a broken home. The school dropout rate is more than twice that of the city overall. Most residents are newcomers who joined the modern gold rush to California of the past 25 years. Many are newcomers from the most backward parts of the Deep South, poor and ignorant Negroes who have no skills to offer a big city employer, no desire for classroom learning, not even the knowledge of how to live in urban surroundings, often not even the knowledge of how to use plumbing. They crowd together these backcountry Los Angeles, and they find in the land of golden promise that there still are white lawmen, white merchants, white landlords. It began, as many race riots have begun, with the arrest of a Negro by white officers, right here at this corner. In this case, 2 young Negroes were stopped by California highway patrolmen and charged with drunk driving. There was a scuffle and a crowd gathered. The mother of the 2, they are brothers, joined in, and she and another woman the crowd thought was pregnant were pushed and shoved. The highway patrolmen were on the scene 40 minutes, a period some suggested was overlong in the face of a gathering hostile crowd. The McCone Commission dug thoroughly into this event. It found no basis for criticizing the conduct or judgment of officers on the scene. But no one questions this was the incident, nothing more, the spark that lighted the fuse. In the background is a long chronicle of defeat and disappointment, of discrimination and Negro grievances, of pure hate for the white man. There was, for instance, in the spring of 1962, a gun battle between Negroes and police outside the Los Angeles Mosque of the Muslims, a sect built around the belief that all whites are evil, that complete separation of the races is the only hope for America. In that gunfight, 1 Negro was killed, 14 wounded. Some Los Angeles citizens believe the Muslim shooting so crystallized Negro feelings that from that point, April 1962, big trouble was inevitable. There were other humiliations, distantly noted by whites, but resounding in Watts like a slap in the face. Negro Catholics prayed as the head of the Catholic Archdiocese, James Francis Cardinal McIntyre, declaring Negroes to be better treated in Los Angeles than anywhere in the United States, laid down for his clergy the line that racial problems were to be treated as political rather than moral issues. A young priest, Father William H. Dubé, challenged the cardinal, insisting race discrimination is immoral and therefore a direct concern of the church. Negroes watched while the clergyman dispatched a rebellious and futile appeal to the Pope in Rome.
All of us concerned with giving our Negro congregation positive leadership in their yearning for full protection under the law, equal opportunities for education, jobs, and housing, cannot reconcile the clear teachings of Christ and the Church with the restrictive and nullifying policies of the Cardinal. I urge you, therefore, to remove Cardinal McIntyre from office.
Negroes watched, too, through the long political campaign of 1964, when the major issue in California, bigger even than the Johnson-Goldwater contest, was fair housing. State law requiring the sale of homes to any person able to pay, regardless of color, under attack. White organizations, led by various real estate groups, collected signatures for a referendum which would repeal the law. Martin Luther King came to Watts to spell out the meaning of the referendum battle, but the great majority of California voters rejected law-enforced non-discrimination in housing, the majority telling the Negroes to stay put. The McCone report cites that vote as a major factor adding to Negro resentment. And there were other factors, too.
Might have a TV, they can see the nice things in other parts of the city, and they're tired, they're hungry. They are more educated. They know what's going on in the world. They see millions and millions of dollars spent on rockets and first one thing and nothing. Sent overseas to other countries. And here in their own country, you know, they're hungry, they're out of job.
Finally, there was haggling over the poverty program. Indeed, the very day the riots began, this was the headline in the Los Angeles Times. In Harlem this past summer, poverty funds were used to give jobs and money to thousands of young Negroes. But in Los Angeles, not 1 cent was put into the poverty area. Despite all these aggravations and evidence of white indifference, Los Angeles' long history of freedom from racial strife, plus the fact that it had weathered the troubled summer of 1964 without difficulty, had created a false sense of well-being, so that when the violence did erupt, its impact seemed many times magnified. Indeed, the supposed lessons of peaceful Los Angeles had been cited proudly to lawmen around the country by its chief of police, a man known for his integrity and the bluntness of his opinions. Thus, after the first night of violence, embarrassed perhaps and understandably edgy, Chief William H. Parker faced newsmen.
What do you want the policemen to do? Do you want to mass them in there for what purpose? Pinning everybody down or what?
No, I'm simply asking you to explain what the thinking of the police is. I have no.
Well, the thing is, the police
suggestion
is they have a city to protect. And they can't send all the men in to watch and allow all the rest of the 450 square miles to be open season to every petty criminal and burglar in town. So this is the answer to the question.
Someone like Dr. Martin Luther King should be down there?
No, King doesn't. We've got local residents here. King doesn't put out all the fires in the United States. There are some local Negroes here that are leaders in these situations. Now, we would assume that they have some influence on them or they wouldn't be representing them. Now, those individuals are certainly in a position to go down there and talk to these people and tell them that this is inordinate and they shouldn't continue it.
That Thursday afternoon, one of those leaders Parker referred to, the Reverend H.H. Brookins, with other ministers, politicians, black and white, called a peace meeting at a neighborhood playground.
And I submit to you that we shall not see a Harlem or Rochester or New York. We can solve it. It is yet time.
But Brookins and the others learned they themselves did not understand their people, did not know the intensity of their rage, and could not plumb the depth of their hate.
Because I was on Avalon last night. See, and I'm going to tell you something. Tonight it's going to be another one, whether you like it or not. Wait. Listen. See, we, the Negro people down here have gotten completely fed up. And you know what they're going to do tonight? They don't care. They're not going to fight down here no more. You know what they're going? They're after the white people. Now they're after the white people. They're going to congregate. They're going to caravan out in Inglewood, Claire Del Rey, and everywhere else the white man. They're going to do the white man in tonight. And I'm going to...
Violence. There is the seed of its own destruction. And that for us to continue to try and meet violence with violence is the wrong way, that's all. It's pure and simple. I believe that while we talk about people staying off the street, every citizen's right is to walk the street, but if he must walk it in dignity and respect. I believe, on the other hand, that there ought not to be any concentration of police power in this community tonight.
After that meeting, Brookins and John Buggs of the County Human Relations Commission, a group with a record of success in dealing with racial troubles, took their recommendation that there be less obvious policing of the area Thursday night to Deputy Police Chief Roger Murdoch.
The police department indicated to us that they were going to run the city their own way and they would prove who runs the city of Los Angeles. Mr. Roger Murdoch's attitude was one I would suspect from Jim Clark in Alabama. We are not in Alabama. We want to work with the police. We want to work with elected officials, not against them. When we returned to 118th Street after having talked with Mr. Roger Murdoch of the 77th Division, we had to report what we found. It was like lighting a fuse. They immediately said, well, all right, we told you that your leadership didn't amount to much. You see what they think about you. So now let us do it our own way. At this time, about 6 police cars moved in, blowing sirens with about 500 people lining the streets. And it was just like an explosion, Bill. Everything just went haywire.
The frustration of the Reverend Brookins and his associates goes far toward explaining the why of Watts as well as the how. Actually, from the quarrel over the performance of Negro leadership was beginning to emerge one of the great unpalatable truths of the riot, that there were and are groups in the Negro community for whom nobody spoke. Most of the Negroes who hold elective office in Los Angeles stayed out of the area, but State Assemblyman Mervyn Dimely, a resident of the riot area, was there constantly, and he spoke the truth no one wanted to hear.
Shall I relate to you an incident? About 4 o'clock Friday morning, I went up to a group that was throwing bottles, and I said, listen, baby, let's cool it. And he says, man, where are you from, Baldwin Hills? I said, no, man, I live on Avalon. He said, well, you must live in some big house. And I said, no, man, I'm with the people. He says, well, if you're with us, here, throw it. And he handed me the bottle. And I says, man, I'm for peace. He says, man, you're not for peace, you're with the man. The man, in this case, is the white man or the police. And he says, look, man, we don't want to hear you. We don't want to hear Dr. Martin Luther King. We don't want to hear Dick Gregory. We don't want to hear Brookins. We just want to talk with the man ourselves.
Although the sense of effective Negro leadership was striking, the grasp of affairs by white officials, aside from Chief Parker, was also less distinguished. As word of the shouted threat to do the white man in spread by word of mouth from the playground peace meeting, whites began to crowd the gun shops for weapons to defend themselves. The governor of California was in Greece, vacationing. The mayor of Los Angeles had found it necessary to keep a speaking engagement in San Diego Thursday. He flew to another such date in San Francisco after a Friday morning conference with Parker, at which it was decided to call the guard if the riot worsened.
The Commonwealth Club has advertised this speech for a long time. They have hundreds of reservations, and so, of course, there isn't anything more especially that I can do in the next few hours, but I'll go up and write back to keep my commitment, but if it hadn't been made for months, I certainly wouldn't go.
The McCone report does not criticize Mayor Yorty. It simply quotes, without comment, the reason he gave for his absence from the city. As Mayor Yorty left for his luncheon date in San Francisco, Chief Parker, the man in charge and the man on the spot from the beginning, now had hard words for the peacemakers he had earlier encouraged.
And I'm not going to play games with well-meaning people who lack expertise. The difficulty is that the people who are getting hurt here are the police and innocent citizens, and the rioters are prevailing.
The chief's concern deepened early Friday when the character of the rioting changed. The note in the police log says, 10 a.m., major looting became general. And in one shopping area 3 blocks long, thousands of Negroes stole everything they could carry and then burned what was left. What had been skirmishing before between police and hit-run Negro groups became a wholesale exercise in stealing and burning, with evidence of organized efforts in the manufacture and use of Molotov cocktails. The police estimate was that 3,000 people filled this street. Walking through it then, remembering it now, that estimate seems conservative indeed. On one point, Chief Parker was firm throughout. He was determined to ask for the National Guard if his men found the Negro explosion too much to handle. Parker had agreed with Governor Brown a year before on machinery to do just that. But the Guard had been called in a civil disorder only once in California history, an aircraft strike just before World War II. No one in high office wanted to be the man who turned bayonets against the people. At 10:50 a.m., however, Parker, declaring the situation out of control, asked for the National Guard. But it was 5 o'clock that Friday afternoon when Lieutenant Governor Glenn Anderson signed the proclamation. As the McCone Commission points out, Friday's delay in calling the Guard proved costly in property damage and perhaps lives as well. The commission feels acting Governor Anderson hesitated when he should have acted. Further escalation of the riots possibly could have been avoided, says the commission, if a group of guardsmen available only a few miles away had been deployed, as they might have been, by mid-afternoon Friday. Then the Guard came in. The first units mobilized and on their way at 7 p.m., the same time the first rioter was killed. A curfew was ordered, everyone off the streets by 8 p.m., and the brute force of 14,000 armed men finally broke the back of the riot. As the smoke lifted above Watts and the shooting died down, the soul-searching, blame-shifting began. Martin Luther King did not cut short his vacation in Puerto Rico, but went to Watts after the rioting and found the atmosphere less friendly than he might have expected.
You all know my philosophy. You all know that I believe firmly in nonviolence. Or maybe some of you don't quite agree with this. I want you to be willing to say that. And
sure, we like to be nonviolent, but we up here in Los Angeles area, we're not turning that other cheek. Number two, in the fact that our Negro community leaders are, where are they? They are not here, and they're not coming down because, all right, that's right. They are selling us again, and we're tired of being sold as slaves. Don't burn, but smile. Smile. Wait a minute.
All we want is jobs. We get jobs, we don't bother nobody. We don't get no job, we'll tear up Los Angeles, period.
What about what you think, brother, about the police situation? Do you?
The police will burn them up too.
Governor Brown, hurrying back from Greece and heeding perhaps the urging of King and other Negro leaders, found the riot area far from tranquil and the residents eager for an official ear.
What does your husband do?
I don't have a husband. We're separated.
Oh, you are.
He's
So
in
you're all by
prison.
yourself. You have to raise the 4 children by
Yes.
yourself? And how much do you get from the Aid to Needy Children program?
$234 a month, and my house rent's $80 a month.
Are there any places, say we could get a job, if we had a job for you?
If I could go to work, I'd be proud to go to work, and I could make enough money to have somebody watch my baby. I'd love to go to work.
You mean there were a lot of people
These
hungry?
people have been hungry all the time. Like just two or three days before all this happened, these people were just about starving to death, waiting for the first till they got their check.
Right.
They needed it.
I mean, this was a continuing situation down here.
All the time.
Well, I mean, can't
right.
don't they get the money from
Oh,
welfare? I mean, we have the Aid to Needy
They
Children
need
program.
jobs. They need jobs. That's what they need.
But creation of jobs depended in some degree on settlement of the city dispute with the federal government over administration of the poverty program. City Councilman Gilbert Lindsay, one of the Negro officials notably absent during the riot, hit hard at the poverty tangle.
I am also ashamed that we, including I, squabbled and fought over the war and poverty program, which is almost scandalous.
But Mayor Yorty denied that he or anyone else in Los Angeles had hung up the poverty program by playing politics. He blamed Washington.
Factor. I have tried for months, as you know, to end the senseless controversy. And so far as I know, this is the only large city where the Office of Economic Opportunity actually used strong-arm tactics by cutting off our funds and publicizing the fact that unless we met their changing dictates, that they would cut off the funds. And they have certainly helped to incite people in the poverty area by these tactics.
And in Washington, Sergeant Schreiber replied in kind.
523 cities, towns, and counties in every state of the Union have already organized effective local anti-poverty programs. Los Angeles, unfortunately, is the only major city in the United States which has failed to do this.
Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on?
Whoever was to blame, the political shilling of the poverty program was only one factor. The larger causes of the Watts explosion we'll examine in just a moment.
And he joined our picket.
All right, everyone. All right. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you enjoyed the film. I know. I hope you enjoyed the clip here of Waltz, LA Waltz, Riot or Revolt. That was a very, very good film. Documentary. Wasn't too long, but it was good. It was really good. So I just wanted everyone to go over this worksheet with us. If you are part of our homeschool and co-op program, that is awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to pull it up and we're going to go over a few questions. Give me just a moment. All right, so here's our worksheet, everyone. I'm going to see if I can make it a little bigger because I just want you all to be able to see the. Not let me click it. Hold on 1 second. Having a little technical difficulties. Okay, there we go. All right, so here's our worksheet here. If you are a part of our Patreon, I highly recommend you check it out from there. I will put our Patreon group in the chat, but it is also in the description for this live here, and we are saving this live, so make sure you check it out, okay? But I'm going to put our Patreon link in the chat. And first, I would just like for everyone to share with me, if good job, mommy, if they enjoyed the clip that we just shared. All right, we can share that in the chat. Even our homeschoolers that are with us, make sure you share it in the chat. Miss 3, make sure you share it in the chat, just so I'll know. All right, you can also share it in the comments as well if you check out the replay. Okay. But yes, I actually enjoyed watching the LA Watts Revolt. It was really good. It was very inspiring to me because when you're fed up, you just you're fed up. And they told them what they needed, and like the man said, when they try to do things calmly and nobody listens. So when we finally speak up, you know, we have to do it in certain ways. Now, we don't want to be violent, but these are the type of things that happens when people feel they're not being heard. Okay, so let's just go through a recap of this beautiful. Hold on, mommy. Let's go over a recap with Grandma Wee. She is going to just share a recap of the story for those of you that may have just tapped in with us. That may just have tapped in with us. All right. And you can also follow us on Instagram, Witness the Elevation, or you can follow us on w.e pharmacy with an F, and you'll be able to check out Miss Grandma Wee from there as well. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull up Miss Grandma Wee so she can share us a recap of the LA Watts story. Okay.
Hey there, honey. This week, let's go with the word courage. See, courage ain't just about not being scared. It's about stepping forward, speaking your truth, even when your knees are knocking like a screen door in a hurricane. This week, I want you to walk with courage. Face the challenges head on. Your grandma believes in you. There's an African proverb that says, he Who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing in life. That means you can't let fear sit in the driver's seat. You've got dreams, purpose, strength in your bones, baby, so step out and claim what's yours. The quote highlights that avoiding risks, while seemingly safer, ultimately leads to stagnation. It encourages individuals to be brave, step outside their comfort zones, and pursue their goals despite challenges and setbacks. The quote is a powerful reminder that growth and accomplishment often require venturing into the unknown and impossibility of failure. Grandma believes in you. And remember, every brave step you take makes the next one a little easier. Go on ahead and step on out there. You got this.
Okay, everyone. So that was Grandma Wee sharing her word for the week, but I was trying to pull up the Revolt, and I'm trying to see if I even uploaded it to YouTube yet. I don't think I have. Let me see. But yeah, that was the word for the week. So if you like that, that's cool. But here we go. I have the clip here, so let me go ahead and pull this up. But thank you, Grandma Wee, for sharing with us the word for the week. 1 second.
Hey there, child. Back in 65 in Watts, we saw a fire. Not just the kind that burns buildings, baby, but the kind that burns away illusions. Folks called it a riot. The TV said it was chaos, but I was there and I knew better. It was people standing up because the law had been breaking them down for too long.
We're getting reports of widespread fires and looting as the situation in Watts continues to escalate.
Now, Watts was a place where Black folks had come trying to make a life after leaving the South, running from Jim Crow and all that hatred. But when they got there, they found out California had its own kind of chains. No jobs for us, landlords charging too much for too little, and police treating us like we didn't belong in our own streets. What lit the match was a traffic stop. A young Black man named Marquette Fry got pulled over by the highway patrol. But it didn't stop at a ticket. There was an argument. His mama came out to see what was happening, and before you knew it, the police was roughing folks up. Neighbors started gathering, seeing yet another Black family who maybe it was the last straw. For 6 days, that pain and anger spilled over. People were tired of the police beating on them and nobody listening. They were tired of being poor while the rest of the city looked the other way. They set fires, they took what they needed from stores, and they fought back against the police. Some called it a riot, but a lot of us called uprising, a rebellion. Here's what I want you to take from that. Every time you see our people standing up, don't just watch. Listen. Listen for the pain. Listen for the hope. Listen for the plan underneath the shouting. Because one day, you might be the one speaking, and you'll want somebody to really hear you. And remember, Grandma Wee loves you.
Y'all, we love Grandma Wee. She's so silly. That's my 2-year-old, my 3-year-old, everyone. But yes, that was Grandma Wee. So as you all tap in with us, you will be able to definitely check out more of her storytelling time, and she does share the word for the week. So if you are a part of our Patreon, or if you tap in with our Instagram, Witness the Elevation or W.E pharmacy, you can tap in with Grandma Wee stories, okay, and words of inspiration and so on and so forth. She also loves herself some African proverbs, okay. But I have the worksheet here, so we were able to get a recap from Grandma Wee what LA Watts Riot or Revolt was all about. All right, so let's go over a few of these. We're not going to go through all of them, but if you would like to share your answer in the chat, you definitely can. Okay, and I did share our Patreon link in the chat, and it will be in the description again. But I will share with you also our Instagram information. You can also reach us from Facebook. Okay, we have Facebook as well. We have our Facebook groups, we have our Facebook chats, everything you need. Okay, so for the first question, it says here, let me pull up my page here. For the first one, we're looking at understanding. Is it understanding? Yep, understanding the history. But part one, we just did go over Grandma Wheat. Yes, so now we're at part two, understanding the history. Quick facts. The Watts Rebellion happened in what month and what year? If you know the answer, be sure to share it in the chat, even if you're here with me. What you mean? Share it in the chat. That's it. Share it in the chat. Let's see what answers we get. Share it in the chat. All right. What year and month? The year and month. Okay. Now, if you all are paying attention, today is what? August 11th. And this is the day that the LA Watts started. Okay. This is when it all went down. All right. So, yes, that is correct. Thank you so much for sharing your answer in the chat. I truly appreciate it. All right. So, yes, it started in August 11th, 1965. All right. And why did this begin? We want to know what happened, like what took place. It began after the arrest of who? Who was the person that was arrested? If you remember his name. Now, I don't know if I remember how to say his name, but yeah, I don't remember. Marquette or something. You know, Grandma Wee, she said it right, but yes, if you can type it in the chat, that would be great. And I'll type the answer in the chat as well after I see our answers here. Yeah, after I see our answers. So yeah, after this particular arrest, you know, that was it. The people were tired. It was like, you know what? And his mom ended up coming outside trying to see what was going on. But after that situation happened, the people were like, you know what, this is it. And then that's when it all started. So let's see what's going on in the chat, because people are already being wrong. But it kicked after, yes, Marquette Fry.
No.
Marquette, yeah, Marquette Fry. But yeah, that's his name. That is definitely his name. And thank you for sharing your answer in the chat. We'll go ahead and post that so the people can see. When, for those of you that do tap in later, you'll be able to see the answers on the screen. Okay, this is why I definitely wanted to make sure we typed it in here for you. All right, so you can definitely go back and look at the answers on the screen. Okay, so let's see what else we have going on here. The rebellion lasted for how many days? Anybody know? How many days? Oh, Lord. How many days did the rebellion last? Let us know. Let us know in the chat. How many days did it last? 6 days. Yes, it lasted 6 days. And what caused it? What happened for it to end? Something happened because the people wasn't done. If it could have went longer, I'm pretty sure it would have before, until they got their answers. But what broke the back of the rebellion? What broke it all down? Who did they call? You all remember? Let me know. You don't remember? It was the National Guard. The National Guard came in. National Guard. I'm talking about National Guard. The National Guard. They came in. They came and they destroyed it. It was terrible. Like, they had to call the bigger people in to end it all. The local police, they couldn't do it. Yeah, guard. The local police, they couldn't do it. And you know, the YTs, they were fearing for their life. Caucasians was fearing for their life. So they're like, what are we gonna do here? They're talking about they're gonna put the white man in. They're gonna put it in on. They're gonna go in on him. So what do we do? So they had to call in the big guards, unfortunately, and that kind of just broke it from there. They couldn't call Dr. King to come in to help with the situation. They didn't want to hear that turn the other cheek. They didn't want to hear that. They couldn't have who else came? The local. Yeah, the local people tried to come in and help out the leaders there, but that wasn't enough. They felt like they wasn't speaking up enough, and they don't feel like they have any power. So that caused the situation there. So yeah, that's what happened. The National Guard ended up coming in and tearing it all down. They gave them this curfew and all of that, where they had to be in the house and so on. So yeah, that was that. Let's go in a little deeper. What were some other reasons for the rebellion? I think we kind of spoke on that: the poverty and job discrimination, police harassment, and poor housing conditions. So that was the reason for all of this to take place, because they're like, we're not getting the best jobs. Our landlords is charging us all this crazy rent, and what are we going to do? We don't have the money. You all don't. You all are not providing us with what we need in our community. So we got to make some noise, and that's what happened. Okay. All right. So on the next part of this sheet, we have the definitions. For the words, you can look that up and see what they both mean. What does rebellion mean, and what does riot mean? Which word do you think better describes what happened in Waltz? So that's a very good one. And why? So that's a very good one to answer, okay? Um, Cause and effect. You can definitely help out. Parents, help out with this one. Make sure it matches so people can understand the reasons, the causes and effects of what happened. Critical thinking. Let's think a little deeper. Why do you think the rebellion lasted six days instead of ending quickly? I would love to hear some people opinions on this. Why do you think why do you think the rebellion lasted 6 days instead of ending quickly? I wonder. So I want you all to definitely look into that question. I was trying to get some ideas for myself on why it lasted for 6 days instead of ending so quickly. Um, hmm. Why? Why do you think it lasted for 6 days instead of not ending so quickly? Hmm. I think I would just have to say that people were not afraid. They were not afraid to stand up for what they were fighting for. They were tired. Um, and when they showed their attitude towards what was going on, the people were shocked. Like the leaders, so-called government leaders and all of that, they were shocked. They didn't. I don't think they were expecting this to happen. I'm pretty sure they felt, oh, they're good. Those people are good down there. We don't have to worry about them. Yeah, right. There's a quote that Grandma Wee said, about how wood can burn a little longer. I can't, don't quote me on that. You got to go back to what Grandma Wee said. But she was definitely talking about how it will start a crazy fire. I wish I could find it right now, but I don't know exactly where it is. But you all can recap with our content, and yeah, I believe it's in the extended story. It's a part of the extended story post that's in our Patreon. But yes, perspectives. If you were living in Watts in 1965, What would you have wanted the city leaders to do to make things better? What would you have wanted them to do? That's a good question. And basically what they were doing, I mean, I would want them to fight a lot harder. Like, I would want to tell them, like the man said, we want to talk to the man. We want to talk to the ones that are in charge here. And maybe, I don't know, maybe the way things were structured could have been a little different. The meetings could have had, more people that were part of the community instead of just the leaders. Have them go with them. Um, yeah, I don't know. There was nothing that I can't really think of nothing because I think the fight was right. That I feel the fight was right. The fight was right. You know, just I wish our fights would get better results. Unfortunately, we do loot our communities, but at those particular times, when it's a riot, people do that. They end up going into the local businesses that are not black owned, and yeah, they will get what they need to get to as the riot goes on, and I don't know, I can't really think of anything. I would just say the structure of it, more voices being heard from the community and the people, and not just these leaders. We put our faith in the leaders, but we got to be there too. That the people has to come too and speak their opinions. Okay, yeah, these local government folk, they need to hear the wrath, feel it from the people. I don't know. I'm gonna have to say nothing on that one besides structure, maybe, and more voices. But let's see. And there's a part four, creative reflection. So yes, if you would like to definitely draw an image that represents the emotions, and this one should be great for you, Miss Liberty, since your art is about emotion. But yes, definitely the image that you believe represents the emotions of the Watts rebellion. Okay, and we have a few AI pictures that we posted. If you all saw the clip with Grandma Wee, you can see the TV clip with her dad and her mom, where you can see the rebellion going on the TV screen. Okay, but if I had to think something right off the top of my head, off meditation, I would say that picture has a lot of smoke. It has a lot of smoke, a lot of fire, because there was a lot going on. They were blowing up everything. They was blowing up people's cars. If you was not melanated, your car was burnt up. Okay. There's another picture that I saw where it said, "Don't make a left turn or you'll be shot." I was like, "Whoa, okay." So there was some strong attitude in that image, honey. It has to be some very bold colors, bright red and black. Cause honey, whew, gray. I can see a lot of gray. Okay. So that's just that's that part there. If you all would like to draw something or write a diary entry as if you were there during the 6 days, use details from Grandma Wee's story. All right. And here's some extended research. If you would like to, you can research another urban uprise. Okay, there was an uprise in Detroit, 1967 in LA. All right, and there was an LA, the Rodney King one after that situation that happened with Rodney King in 1992. Okay, and you can compare the causes to the Watts of 1965. But see, the thing is, some of the causes for these rebellions is because of police brutality, because of jobs, because of stuff being ridiculously sky high when it comes to having a home, shelter, the proper food, and yeah, we're gonna definitely look at the Detroit rebellion in 1967 in LA 1992. Oh yeah, we got to look at those. I just got to lay them out for the streams, and I hope you all tap in so you can just see and hear and understand what these people were feeling and how we need to prepare ourselves now in these times. What's going on, we have to look at what took place so we'll know what to do and what not to do. Okay, as you all see now, these leaders that we so called be looking into, they have their own situations, they have their own lies, they have their own truths. Okay, but the people, all of us, it's gonna take all of us. It's not gonna. I don't know about the title part. It's not gonna take the title part. It's gonna take the voice part. Okay, it's gonna take courage part. If you don't have those pieces, you're not going to win the fight. It's going to take the spiritual part, that spiritual strength, all of that strength, structure. Okay, it's going to take that, not titles. At the end of the day, we don't care who's who. If you ain't speaking truth, we don't. We don't care who's who. Okay, we definitely want our African American people to rise, our Black communities to rise. Okay, but this is still a one love type thing. I don't want to see us all separated, but I'm definitely rooting for my race. Okay, one love, one heart. Let's get together and be all right. But you know, it's gonna take a little work. Still got to take. It takes more work, more organizing. Okay, we got work to do. So that completes our worksheet, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed it. Okay, let me know in our Patreon your questions. If you have any comments, you can definitely share them in our comments there. Um, because the chat will be closed. But yeah, definitely tap in with us. All right. And you can see our information at the bottom of the screen if you would like to share support, all right, to the WE Homeschool and Co-op Learning Program. We have a beautiful workshop that's coming up starting on the 18th, where we are helping our babies develop some beautiful content creation skills, okay? And they are also continuing to build their virtual world so that way they're able to create digital products and get stronger with AI and many more tools, okay? Video editing and all of that. Many more tools, all right? But thank you again for tapping in with WE. You can tap in with us more from Witness the Elevation Instagram or w.e.pharmacy with an F Instagram. Okay. You can tap in with us more by subscribing to our YouTube channel because we will be on YouTube a lot more as we kind of get off of kind of getting off of what am I trying to say? We are getting off of Instagram. Yeah, we have to do more different platforms. Hold on one second, everyone. All right, y'all. Let me go ahead and get on up out of here. Get on up. Get on up. Gotta get on up out of here, my children. Gotta get back to homeschooling, okay? But we appreciate you all again for tapping in. Enjoy the rest of your week. We will see you next week with another live. All right. Peace.